Yo. What's going on, man? Today is the 1st of September. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. I'm your host, Chris. Let's see if we can get to some money today, man. Won the game in the W yesterday. I didn't have an official play. Glad I stayed away because Washington and Connecticut did not go the way that I expected. I was expecting a slow-paced defensive type game, and both of those teams went up and over their team total. I did say that Washington team total was a tad bit too low at 72.5, but I didn't get there, and that would have been the only winner I think that I had on the short list. So no recap, but we'll get into a couple of the quick comments before we jump into all the games that we got on the board for today. And we got quite a few games on the board for today. We kind of looked ahead to the game today between the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings. But let's jump into the games that we have on the board for today outside of that one. And we'll talk about that one a little bit more as well. So go through a couple of the comments real quick. Let's see. Okay, I see a spicy one already. Fever versus Wings about to feed generations. It's a lot of overs you could like in that game. Absolutely. I agree with that. What's up to my guy, Mark? Says, good morning, Chris and community. Let's make it a great day. Marquise in here as well. Rise and grind people. Mystics first half spread plus 4.5 was a cash. Let's get to it today. They always run out of gas at the end. What's up, Santiago? Says, let's get it, Chris. I'm loving the card on this Sunday. What up to my guy, Justin? Mitchell says the big WNBA slate. College football was great last night. I'm looking forward to NFL Week 1 picks too, Chris. Let's cash in today. Yeah, NFL want to be quick. Will be soon. I got my short list. I just haven't made anything official. When I do, I'll share with the members. Kilo says, happy Sunday, Chris. And guys, let's cook some winners up like we do in here. Absolutely. What's up, Troy? Peasy in here as well. Top of the morning. Right back at you, Peasy. 5 games on the slate today. Mitchell reminding everybody hit the like button as you enter. There's less cash today, and let's get some quality bets. Big Zan says, don't forget, weekend games, especially Sundays, be tricky. They dangerous, my friends. And that's a fact. What's up, Dropping Dimes? Says he got some plays that he absolutely love. Can't wait to share. My guy LJ in here. What up, LJ? Hope all is well down in H-Town. He says, let's get to it. And let's do just that. What's up, BJ? What up, She? BJ says he likes the Wings. We'll get there. And Helping Hand says, let's get some money as well. What's up, Ball Talk? All right, let's jump into it for today, man. First game we got up is the Sun and the Storm. Game to be played in Connecticut. Want to make sure we got the best lines and numbers. So let me just double check these real quickly. I think I checked before the game started, though. I think this is right. Yeah, line's coming down to 1 in favor of Connecticut. This line was actually 2.5 yesterday. If you guys, they had the line out for this game before the Connecticut and Washington game even ended. And man, it's a difficult game for me not to bet on Seattle, and it's more so a spot play. If you like spot basketball, you like the spot for the Seattle Storm. They got a clean injury report. Connecticut could potentially be without Alyssa Thomas. She is listed as questionable in the injury report. We know how much she means. If you guys know anything about WNBA, you know how much Alyssa Thomas means to the Connecticut Sun. She banged knees with Carly Simonson yesterday and exited the game. I think she did come back, and she's listed as questionable. I could see them like really giving her the day off. It's a terrible spot for Connecticut. Second leg of a back-to-back. It's a road home back-to-back at that. And they played yesterday at 3 o'clock. This game is at 1 o'clock today. So for all of those reasons, you know, not even deep diving into the game, I think it's a Seattle spot. Seattle also already beat this team earlier this season. They beat them by 12. Of course, that game was in Seattle. But yeah, I think Seattle's the right side in this game. The total's going up at open 152.5. It's up to 155.5 now. And we know the totals this low typically end up going up and over. So yeah. Seattle has not been great recently, though. Let me just keep it moving. Seattle has not been great recently, as you guys can see. They are 19-12 on the season, but 15-6 against the spread. They haven't been profitable on the road, 6-8 against the spread. And they're only 1-9 against the spread in their last 10. They are coming off a loss to the New York Liberty, but I think it's a nice spot for the Seattle Storm here. They've actually failed to cover their last 6 road games. They're only 1-3 straight up, 2-2 against the spread as a road dog. But like I said, I don't like the spot for Connecticut here, man. They are 1-1. This will be the third time that they played without rest this season. They lost that first game to Atlanta. I remember being on Atlanta in that spot. And then last week they did beat New York in this spot. It was the second leg of a back-to-back, a home road back-to-back at that. And they went into New York and did still won in that game. So that game also went under by about 22 points last Sunday, I think it was last Saturday. Like I mentioned, Seattle did beat Connecticut 72-61 in Seattle. They were laying 1.5 points in that game back then. So I think this one is pretty telling. I feel like Connecticut should be a bigger favorite here. Like I said, this opened at 2.5, is down to 1. And yeah, I think, Seattle's defense has been playing a little bit worse recently. When you look at look into some of the numbers, they are playing at the second fastest pace. So I think a team total up and over is probably also in play. And they just got smoked on the rebounds by the Liberty. When you look deep into the game, you ain't got to look that deep. It was like 45-17 on the rebounds, and they got out offensive rebounded 17-6. I think, Coach Noel Quinn probably addresses that. You got Gabby Williams; she'll eventually start to gel with the team. And if Alyssa Thomas is going to be out, I think it's a good time to take Seattle. You can get them plus 100 on the money line right now on a couple different books. So that's the way that I like it, and that's the way what I would be looking at. I just think it's a pretty bad spot and a quick turnaround, especially with having to travel in there as well. Last thing I wanted to mention, so if I'm playing a game, I like the over and I like Seattle. Last thing I wanted to mention real quickly is unrested teams, this league-wide trend, unrested teams coming off a win that are favorites of less than 3. So in their following game, they're only, favored to win by a possession. And they had to travel 72-85 straight up. 40, that's less than 46%. 67-81-1 against the number. So covering less than 43% of the time as well. I do think it's a Seattle spot. I know they've been playing pretty poorly, but I like Seattle in this spot. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Let's go back up to the top. What up to my guy, Fred? He says he's telling whatever. Yeah, I like Seattle in this spot. I haven't played them yet. That's the way that I'm looking. Dropping dimes, just storming over. I'm right there with you. BJ says he's passing on this one. One says, son here, not trusting the storm on the road. Yeah, that's what I figured most people would think. And I couldn't talk you off that logic, but like I said, I kind of think this one goes up and over. I think it goes up and over. And I think, especially with the Storm playing fast, pretty sure they're going to try to run. And if Alyssa Thomas is ruled out, you get a much worse line with Seattle. So if you like Seattle and you like plus money, like I said, you can get them at plus 100 right now. It just kind of feels like the right play to me. Solo says he's kind of leaning under. I think this total is a tad bit too low to lean under, in my opinion, but I can understand it. The first one went under. Connecticut team total sitting at 77.5. Seattle team total sitting at 77.5. I think Seattle should be able to score in this game, and I think they're going to try to prioritize pace. They're already the second fastest paced team in the WNBA. I know Connecticut plays super slow, but if Alyssa Thomas is in there, that could speed up the offense a little bit. Marina Mabry's not as good a defender, but she did hit 4 threes in that game yesterday against Washington. So offense, may look a tad bit better. And Seattle's defense hasn't been that great recently. So I like the over, and I like Seattle. They do play again. Glad Marcus mentioned this. They do play again on Tuesday. That game is also in Connecticut. So no change of venue there. Connecticut probably gets some revenge in that game is what I'm thinking. Peasy says, I agree. Storm money line seems to be the play today. Yeah, sharp money immediately started coming in on, and that doesn't mean that it's going to cash, but sharp money immediately started coming in on Seattle last night when this was plus 2.5. Christian says, but the Storm hasn't been the same at all. They've been more of a shower than a storm. Yeah, sometimes you gotta know when the tides are going to turn. You got to be able to predict it before it happens, and that's what I see with the Storm. I think that they get it right. I like Seattle, like I said. I'm not looking towards Connecticut today, and they have been, I think, the third best road home team. I think New York is first, Minnesota is second, and then Connecticut is 12-3 straight up at home. T. Mitchell says, I like the Storm money line at plus money in this spot. So right there with me. Prop says Sun money line for me. Early game for the Storm after they had to travel from Seattle to Connecticut. Seattle was playing when they normally be waking up. Yeah, I mean, you got a good point there. Yeah, that is a terrible spot. I I mean, that's a pretty bad spot, but they did have the day off yesterday. You do got to get acclimated to the East Coast. So body clock could be off just a tad bit. It makes a lot of sense here. I'm just not back in the Storm. I think, especially if Alyssa Thomas doesn't play. We'll see what happens with the injury report with her. What else y'all seeing? Bad spot for the Sun. On top of AT potentially being out for the Sun, defense will suffer and Storm may try to play with pace and the Sun being on the back-to-back. That's what I'm thinking too. Sun did beat Liberty on the back-to-back. I said that the other day. I did say that. Justin says he's going to stay away from the spread, likes the team total up and over. Instead, Seattle straight up. Game starting at 1 p.m. after playing yesterday is significant. Yeah, they played at 3 o'clock yesterday, and some of these lines are starting to move because I'm looking at the live odds screen on OddsJam, and everything looks like it's moving. So we'll keep it moving. Ball Talk says Connecticut with no Alyssa Thomas is no bueno. Sun probably get the next one when they're rested, and I agree with that. Cuppa Joe says maybe threes all the way is in play. Yeah, when I was looking into it, Seattle defensively, boy, it's the last thing we'll talk about in this game before we keep it moving. Connecticut hasn't really shot the ball that well from the three-point line outside of that game yesterday. They lit the Washington Mystics up yesterday, but they are shooting the three-point ball a little bit better. Seattle has been terrible at guarding the three-point line. They actually 9th over the last 5 games. Where on the full season they're 3rd. But teams are shooting almost 38% against at the three-point line, and taking and making the most threes against them in their last 5 games. So Seattle defensively has been pretty bad, but I don't think you can just look at the numbers for a spot like this. So Seattle over the way I'm looking at this one. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got the Lynx in the sky. This line, I think it's still 11.5, and the total should be 158.5. Let me just 158.5 here, I think, or 158. Let's see what the number is. So it looks like it's moving to 12 at most places, and total 157.5. So money coming in on Minnesota, money coming in on the under. And this because it's open 11.5, and I see it up to 12. I see it up to 12. So spot here, you got the Lynx. They've been absolutely terrible at basketball. I'm sorry, not the Lynx. This does say Lynx. This should not say Lynx. This should say Sky. So you got the Sky here. They've been terrible at basketball. Let's change this around. So it's Sky versus Lynx, not Lynx versus Sky, because the game will be played in Minnesota today. So the Sky, coming off 1 day's rest, last of a 2-game road trip. Well, first of a 2-game road trip, I'm sorry. Last few games have been at home. They was getting smoked in all of them anyway. 5 straight losses. They've won 1 game since the Olympic break. And they kind of, I would say, kind of like called themselves out after losing to Indiana and giving up 100 points on Friday night. And I think all of this might be backwards. I can't stand when I do this. So this, let's see, this should be here. Oh. All right. All right, there we go. No, that still ain't right. Hold on. All right, that should be right. The Sky are 11-19 straight up, 13-17 against the number, and they are on the road where they should be 4-11. Should be, and this should be home. All right, so they should be right. The Sky have been absolutely terrible no matter what this is. And the big injury news here, of course, is Kennedy Carter. She's missed the last couple games with COVID, the last 2 games. She is listed as questionable for this game. On the Minnesota side, Alyssa Smith is also, Alana Smith is also listed as questionable with an ankle injury that she sustained in that Dallas game. So I think that's big for both teams, of course. Chicago, I feel like you're gonna get a really good effort from Chicago in this spot. I know that they've been terrible, and that's one of the reasons I didn't jump on the Lynx immediately at the 11.5 or the 12 or whatever the number is. I just listened to some of the post-game interview stuff, and I do think that they're going to play a little bit better in this spot. The Lynx are also coming off a game against, the Dallas Wings, where we was on them on Friday night, and they ended up losing that game outright. Minnesota, I think so. First of all, I can't play the game without knowing the status of Kennedy Carter. If she's going to play, 11.5, maybe 12 might be too many points, and some sharp money might come in on Chicago to end up covering this game. Minnesota has been red hot outside of that one loss to the Dallas Wings. They're 6-1 straight up, and against the spread since the Olympic break. They're also 6-1 straight up, but just 4-3 after a loss this season. But that's where I kind of wanted to look at in this matchup is towards a team total under. If Kennedy Carter doesn't play, or even if she does play and they end up moving the total up, I like the Sky team total to go under in this spot. I'm not sure how many points the Lynx are going to score, but I think with the Lynx, just the way that they lost that game against the Dallas Wings to a very similar team that loves to dominate the paint, offensive rebounds. The way that they lost to Dallas, I don't think that they're going to let that happen again. The strength of the Dallas Wings, also the strengths of the Chicago Sky in the fact that they like to score in the paint. Coach Reeves came out after that loss to Dallas and said that they were just a lot more physical than we were, and I can't really see them letting Cardoso and Angel Reese dominate the paint like Tiara McCowan did in that last game. So Minnesota, when I looked a little deeper, they are 5-2 to the under. When they're coming off a loss this season, they typically play a lot better defense in that next game, and they're only giving up 70 points per game in the following spot. 5 of their 7 opponents have actually stayed below their team total, and their team total was 72.5 today. I know it's a super low number, but if Kennedy Carter doesn't play, I'm not sure how the Sky get to 73 points in this spot. So if I'm looking at this one, I think that's what I like the most. I think I like the team total under for the Chicago Sky. Stay away from this big spread. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Young Man Travel says, I think Chicago Sky can keep it close early, grabbing them in the points first half. Yeah, I think, if the effort's going to be there, maybe it is like kind of reminiscent of the last game. That game was close on Friday, and then they got smoked in the third quarter. And, it's one of the reasons why you can see that defensive rating is bottom 3 over the last 5 games, because the Sky are one of those teams. They don't score easy buckets. They get no points off turnovers. They don't even force turnovers. They don't get a lot of, points at the free throw line. Like it's really, really difficult for them to score the basketball. Dirty Riggs says Reese Rodman going over on her rebounds, no doubt. Let's see. What is Angel Reese rebounds for today? I didn't even look at this. If Elena Smith does not play, though, that's going to make it a little bit difficult for Minnesota to keep this team off the boards. Angel Reese rebounds at 13.5, no juice, just a regular 10 cent. You can get on FanDuel. It looks like it's the best line. I do see some minus 120s out there, but it's a couple minus 110s. Christian says Lynx bounce back spot at home. They probably win by 15, easy, under 158.5. Dropping down says he likes the first half under 79. What up, Lightbearer? Justin says Smack City spot for the Lynx here. He like him 11.5 when he bet it. What's up, Discount? Appreciate you for tapping in. Cardoso on the glass for sure. Yeah. DJ Prop says, I don't think I can play this game. I lean under, but the total is way too low, and I can't trust Angel Reese. I can't trust Angel rebounds after she looked tired in the first quarter last game and finished with 10. Maybe she plays better with Carter. Yeah, I mean, everybody, I think, benefits from having Kennedy Carter, so I agree with that prop. And it's not my favorite game on the board either. I actually will go through a couple of the comments and we'll keep it moving. Stay away with says, so yeah, I think we all kind of in agreement with that. 12 points is a lot. 12 points is a whole lot, actually. And I was doing some digging in this game. I looked at Home favorites laying 10 points, laying between 10 and 13, because this line is like, in the middle. I looked at home favorites laying 10 to 13 with a total below 160. And they are it's not a profitable angle going back through the whole Give Me the Dog database. 63, 75, and 4. So only covering about 46% of the time in this spot. When I added that the team was coming off a loss to see if, they might be a little bit more motivated in that spot, 23, 27, and 3. So still only covering about 46% of the time as well. And they have been sneaking up and over the total, 28, 24, and 1. So going over about 54% of the time. It's only happened twice this season, 2-0 straight up, 2-0 against the spread, 2-0 to the over. Those games happen to be Storm versus Sparks and Sun versus Fever at the beginning of the season back in June. So, yeah, those are just the thoughts for the game. Like I said, it's not anything that I like. Mitchell says if Carter plays, Sky can keep it close. If not, it's an under or pass for me. I'm not laying double digits on spreads in any team right now, and I could not agree more. I said this, OJ, if you might have to rewind a little bit, but I said Sky team total under. Seems too easy, though. Yeah, you got to wait. You got to see what happens with Kennedy Carter, in my opinion. I think injury report got to be in she might even be a game time decision, Chris. So I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. But I will say that they released it early on Friday. It was Friday morning when it came out, whether she was going to play or not. So I'm not sure about this one. WNBA, let's see. I think this is probably a 3 o'clock start time game today. Let me just double check it. They play at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. So yeah, stay away game until you know what happens with Kennedy Carter, in my opinion. Let's move on to the next one. We got the Fever and the Wings. We talked about this game in detail yesterday for anybody who had a chance to tune in. You got the Fever and the Wings. Line is 3.5. I think it's consensus. Let me just double check that. It was this morning. And 3.5 is consensus. 182 is consensus on the total as well. I thought this total was going to continue to get pushed up, but it absolutely did not. And, when we broke the game down yesterday, I told you guys a couple different things. I'll repeat a little bit of it, but start with this. Nobody's on the injury report. Pretty clean injury report for both sides. You get a Fever team both teams coming off 1 day's rest. The Fever are in the last of a 2-game road trip. They have been excellent since the Olympic break, 5-1 straight up, 5-1 against the spread. Number 1 net rated team, 3rd in offensive rating, 5th in defensive rating. And, slowly but surely starting to get there in their road games as well. First time, I think, all season, they've had a break-even 500 record of 16-16. And then you got the Dallas Wings that's also been really, really good at basketball. I know people are, probably going to want to take the Fever. I thought this line would move, but I maybe it's sharp money keeping it where it is. The Wings have actually been really good at basketball as well. Last couple games, they've won 3 straight. They only got 9 wins on the season, but they've won 3 in a row. They started with the Sparks, then they knocked off the Aces, then they knocked off the Minnesota Lynx, and now they get the Fever. So fourth of a 5-game home stand. Like I said, 3 straight wins. You can see what it's been. It's been their offensive rating, number 2 over the last 5 games. I mean, they're scoring at a very, very significant clip right now. Net rating at 5th over the last 5 games. A couple of those games have been more defensive. And I did a full deep dive of this game yesterday. So go back and watch yesterday's shows if you guys are interested. What I'll say about this game and what I like the most, I like Dallas. I actually like Dallas team total up and over. I think the best number that when I looked at it last night, and I didn't play it. Well, I actually looked at it yesterday when I got done with the show. 89.5 was the number. And I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed too much. Yeah, 89.5. It was -110. It's -118 right now. Looks like FanDuel has the best number. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I really, really do. I know that the defense for the Fever has been pretty good recently. But if you look at the Fever, let's see. If you look at the Fever, they gave up 90 points to the Lynx. Outside of that, they haven't really given up 90. They gave up 89 to the Mercury since the Olympic break. And those were the only 2 games. Outside of that, 72 to the Storm, 79 to the Dream, 80 to the Sun, and 81 to the sky. Those are teams that really can't score the basketball right now. What I'm not willing to do is bet against the Dallas Wings offense because it's kind of clicking. And I just think that Dallas is going to be able to score the basketball. When I looked a little deeper at the game, Dallas is going up and over 90 points in 4 to 6 games since the Olympic break for themselves. The only 2 times that they stayed under was against the Liberty. We know the Liberty are top-rated defense in the league. Dallas is also, as a home dog, 9-1 to the over on their team total. And the Fever, as a road favorite, have allowed their opponents to go over their team total in 4 of their 6 games as well. I also look at the Fever. They just played against arguably one of the worst offenses that you're probably going to see in the league with the Chicago Sky without Kennedy Carter. So they're probably due for some regression on the defensive end. Some of their defensive numbers are probably a little tad bit inflated. Dallas scored 101 points in the last meeting before the All-Star break. Dallas is number 3 in effective field goal percentage, number 5 in free throw attempt rate, number 4 in turnovers, so they're not turning the ball over, and they're 3rd in offensive rebounds. They're also number 1 in scoring in the league, 89 points per game in their last 5. All of these numbers are for their last 5. You got Satu back, helping the offense a lot. Terrell McCown rebounding again out there getting double-doubles, and Enrique doing a really good job. Don't look now, scoring and facilitating. Dallas is also playing at a top 4 pace, and Indiana is playing at a top 5 pace. So I think it's going to be plenty of possessions, and I do think Dallas can score. I'm not sure who wins. I'm not sure who covers, but I do think Dallas gets to 90 points in this game. That would be my favorite play if I liked anything in this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. A lot of ways to play this game for sure, but I think that's what I like the most. Let's get to the comments real quick. Wings all day, Santiago says. Got to take the Wings, Adonis says. Justin got the Wings plus 3.5 when he bet it. Crazy people betting on the Wings, but yeah, they've looked good, man. Christian says he got the Wings in the over. Definitely grabbing the over, Young Man Travel says. Santiago says he likes the over as well. Justin played Caitlin Clark over 9.5 assists. Tierra McCown over her boards has been high energy. Fever first half, Boston rebounds, Clark assists. This makes a lot of sense right here, Stern Company. I said, outside of the game against Minnesota the other day, Dallas has been starting slow. So, maybe liking the Fever early. Aaliyah Boston, I think I like her points a little bit more than her rebounds because Dallas still been giving it up in the paint. So Aaliyah Boston, I'm expecting to have a really good game. And I couldn't talk anybody off playing Caitlin Clark assists. She did have 19 assists in that last matchup when these two teams faced off. Mitchell says it's coming down to 3 now. Threes will be raining, Prop says. Take Caitlin Clark, Satu, Enrique, and Kelsey Mitchell and parlay how you like. I think I like Satu probably a little bit more than anybody else, but let's just look at it real quick. Defensively, even though Indiana has been playing a little bit better defensively, let's see where they've been lacking at. Above the break 3 field goal percentage. I said this yesterday. They are 9th on the full season, allowing teams to shoot 35% from above the break 3. And they are 9th over the last 5 games, allowing teams to shoot 37% from the 3-point line. Dallas should be able to score the basketball from the 3-point line. I would agree with that assessment for sure. They aren't giving up a lot of points in the paint, but I think that's because teams are finding success from the 3-point line. Going right back to Kelsey and Caitlin Clark over threes parlay, been cashing and up over plus 225. LJ says he like Enrique Agumbawale over her 23.5 points and over her 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Also 26 points. She's averaging 26 points at home and 37 points, rebounds, and assists in her last 3 home games. Enrique been hooping, man. Satu been hooping too. Kelsey for sure over her threes. Let's see. Let's look at Dallas defense over the last 5 games because I feel like it has gotten better. Dallas. 3-point defense specifically. They're actually 4th in above the break 3 field goal percentage. They're holding teams under 29% from the 3-point line over the last 5 games. Their defense has been the worst at the rim, allowing teams to shoot 75.3%. I'm pretty sure that's by far the worst. Even with them playing a little bit better recently, they have not been able to guard the rim. This is why I like Aaliyah Boston a lot in this matchup. She should be able to feast in this game. And she also went off in the first time that these two teams played as well. Mitchell says Dallas team total is 90.5 on DraftKings now for -115. You got to shop around because it's still some 89.5s out there. I like Boston under her rebounds as well. She's struggling against bigs, and Freaky T is clearly Tiara McCowan. Something has changed. She has been playing a lot better. Clark over her assists. We talked about that already. Mark says he got that 180.5 yesterday. Satu over 19.5, where it says I can't see any of the Fever main defenders slowing her down with their skill set and size. And I think I would agree with that as well. Like this one, like the over in this one, Wings might come to play for this game with Caitlin Clark in town. Oh, they definitely gonna come to play. Wings is a big public dog today. Yeah, I'm gonna stay off the side if I do get I think I'm gonna stay off the side if I do get involved. I can kind of see it going both ways for sure. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got two more left, I think. Aces and the Mercury. Game will be played in Phoenix today. I think this is a 4 o'clock start time game. Did I get that right? Let's see. I want to say it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, 4 o'clock. This game starts same time that the Indiana and Dallas games start. Indiana and Dallas playing on NBA TV though. So this line opened 3.5 yesterday. Total open 167.5. So some money coming in on the Aces, some money coming in on the over. Injury report. I think Jackie Young missed that game on Friday against the Atlanta Dream. She just missed it for rest. Pretty sure she's going to be back and available for today's game. And then for the Mercury, I think it's just Rebecca Allen that's on the injury report. So you get a major rest advantage here for the Mercury. 3 days to 1. The Aces finally got a cover. They end up covering that game by, I think, a point, 2 points the other night at home against the Atlanta Dream. So they are 1-10 in their last 10 games against the spread. And it's the standalone road game before they go back home. And they got the Chicago Sky on deck. I think it is who's next. And then you got the Mercury. They have not looked great recently, but you could argue that, they haven't looked great because of their opponent. The Mercury have been playing against some of the better teams in the WNBA. They are 3-4. 3-4 straight up, 2-4-1 against the numbers since the Olympic break. They beat the Sky, lost to the Fever, beat the Sky again, lost to the Dream, then beat the Dream, then lost to the Liberty and lost to the Lynx, two of the hottest teams in the WNBA right now. It's a difficult game, man. It's a very, very difficult game because I don't know if I want to trust the Aces on the road quite yet. They have not been great in this spot on the season. I don't really want to lay points. You can see that they're 6-10 against the number on the road this season. That does not make me want to lay points with them here. And I understand that the Mercury have been, pretty poor recently, but the Mercury, like I said, in my opinion, the Mercury have played, a pretty difficult schedule, and they have the major rest advantage here. Here's the thing that jumps out to me in this game, though. When I think about the Aces and why they've been losing, it's typically been because they can't rebound the basketball and they can't score the basketball. The Mercury defense hasn't been great recently. I know it says that they're number 4 over the last 5 games, but I think that's just also due to pace as well. They've been playing a lot slower. But offensively, you can see that they've been struggling. 10. The Aces defense has not been that great. You can see that they're 11th defensively over the last 10 games. And that's with them holding the Atlanta Dream to, I think, 72, 74 points on Friday night. This has not been a great defensive team over the last few games. But here's a reason why you should like the Aces. When the Aces lose, it's typically because they don't rebound the basketball. One of the teams that really, really struggle to rebound the basketball more so than any other team are that of the Phoenix Mercury. They won't have a big rebound discrepancy in this game because, as we talked about it in the last game, the Mercury, I talked about liking the Fishikaria over her rebound prop. The Mercury don't have a bunch of great rebounders. They only have Brittany Griner. She's not the greatest rebounder, and then they play a lot of smalls. So what I like a little bit more than trying to figure out whether the Aces is going to win the game by 5, and I do kind of lean towards the Mercury as a home dog in this spot. What I like a little bit more is I like A'ja Wilson over her rebound prop. When I looked into it a little bit more, I just think that, both of these teams struggle to rebound the basketball, and the Mercury struggle even more than the Aces at times. So I think A'ja has, continues to dominate the glass. She's coming off a 15 rebound game against the Atlanta Dream. In the three matchups, because this is the 4th matchup of the season. In the 3 matchups so far this season, she's gone up and over. Her rebound prop is 10.5 on ESPN Bet and 11.5 on other books. I think this could be another 14, 15 rebound game for A'ja Wilson. So I won't try to play the side, won't try to play the spread. Like I said, if I had to play, it'd be Mercury plus the points. And I think I would be looking a little bit more towards the under than the over, but that also is tricky to me also. So I'll stay away from both, and I'll put a couple dollars down on A'ja to go up and over her rebound prop. Like I said, 10.5 is minus 140. You can get 11.5 at plus 115. I think it was on FanDuel right before the show started when I was looking at this. And let me just double check it for you guys real quick. A'ja Wilson rebounds. 10.5 minus 136 on FanDuel if you want the juice. You can get 11.5 at plus 105 on Bet Rivers. And I do think that this has potential to be able to ladder. I like A'ja Wilson rebounds a lot today. So yeah, let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Cup of Joe says, smash the like button, y'all. Appreciate that. Definitely helps the algorithm. T. Mitchell says, Chris, what's your favorite player prop of this game? If you're talking about this one, it's definitely A'ja Wilson. Justin says he got on A'ja Wilson, 11.5 when he bet it. Dropping Dime says, absolutely love A'ja Wilson over her rebound. And we all on the same thing. Plus 116 on FanDuel. She's gotten 13, 13, and 15 in the 3 head-to-head matchups, and we all know Phoenix can rebound. And yeah, that's what I said too. Same idea and logic here. Dropping Dimes. Tori says, I'm all over the Aces and Mercury. I'm all over Aces. Mercury has been playing like trash. All over Aces because the Mercury have been playing like trash. You need a comment there, my man, but I understand. Got you. Okay. Donna says taking the Mercury plus the 4.5. Aces not in that mode right now. LJ likes A'ja over her points at 27.5. Says she's averages 28 on the road before the break, 28 last 3 road games as well after the break. Mitchell says he's going to pass on this game. Aces are hard to gauge right now, and I agree. I definitely agree. You can't really judge them too much off a game against Atlanta when Atlanta was without Tina Charles. Until Aces play a complete game, can't lay points with them. Right there, young man, Travel. Right there with you, bro. I would be leaning plus the points. And as you guys can see, like I said, the Mercury got a major rest advantage here. They've also been really good as home dogs as well. I forgot to mention that. But, this is something I want to say they are 12-6, 9-6, I mean, straight up at the crib. I know that's right there in the graphic. But as far as being a home dog, outside of those last 2 games that they just lost, they are 5-3. So they were 5-1. They were actually 5-0. They lost 3 straight games as the home dog. They lost to the Sun. They lost to the Liberty and the Lynx post-Olympic break. So they're 5-3 against the number, losing by an average of just 2 points per contest. And I don't think the Aces in that mode for real. I know money continues to come in on them, but I wouldn't be looking that way in this game. I'm off the Aces, Cup of Joe, but that's just me. We'll see how it goes. 30 Rig says, I'm looking at Grinder under her 18.5. I see her having no success against A'ja. I haven't really thought about that. Copper going for 20 today, he says. Dropping Dime says, ladder A'ja Wilson rebounds too. Prop says, I'm 100% with you on A'ja rebounds. Seems like she rebounds better on the road. Just goes to with that saying that star players play better on the road. They're going to need her for sure because they're not a good rebounding team. The Aces aren't a good rebounding team either. Aces for free, Bobby says. Okay. Keith says 1 year ago today, Satu made 7 threes and finished with 40 points at Indiana. Going to pivot to her rebounds and assists at 11.5. She's 4 for 6 to the number this season and 2 for 3 at home. huge size advantage versus Lexi Hall. And that's a fact, especially if they're going to have Lexi Hall guarding. The Satu should absolutely go crazy. Shout out to my guy Keith for pointing that out in the chat. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. Mark says, yeah, I'm not crazy about this card. Line's looking sharper all around. Yeah, Donnie says he's taking the over. I think I like the under a little bit more, but I could kind of see it going both ways, which is why I stayed off of it. Last game we got on the board for today is the Atlanta Dream. They will be in LA taking on the Sparks. This line open with the Dream. You could have got the Dream last night, minus 135, minus 140 on the money line. Money's now come in, and of course that happened. Looks like it's 4.5 on most books now. Money has come in on the Atlanta Dream, pushed this spread from I think it was 1.5, which is what it opened at, all the way up to 4.5. So if you like the Dream, you definitely got the worst of the line. And I do kind of like the Dream in this spot. I didn't play it yesterday. I was waiting on the news for Tina Charles, but money was coming in before the news on Tina Charles. The reason why I don't want to play the game, and then I'll get into the quick recap, is because I already got a future on the Sparks. We talked about their team total going under. The number is 8.5. So I really just, if I lose this bet on the Dream and the Sparks end up winning this game, then that's almost like a double loss for myself. So I'll sit on the sideline in this one, but I do think it's a Dream spot. The Sparks are coming off a big win. They do have the major rest advantage here as well, coming off that big win against the Liberty. But for whatever reason, we know that's the role that the Sparks play. They do get, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I already talked about Tina Charles coming back. She's not on the injury report, but they do also get the Sparks get Ari McDonald. She is listed as probable, I want to say, for this game. She's been upgraded to probable. She has not played with that foot injury. She has not played since the Olympic break. Aerial Powers and Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, I think, are still listed as out. But Atlanta gets Tina Charles back, which I think that's pretty big. So, yeah, I mean, the Sparks, they looked a lot better in that game against the Liberty the other day. But that's, like I said, that's their role. They typically play the dog. They play, when they're double-digit dog, they play a lot better than when they're single-digit dog for whatever reason. And when you look a little deeper into that, and also, you know, I was just looking at the Dream, and they've been in some terrible spots. That last game against the Aces, they fought, almost ended up covering that game, ended up losing by 11. Before that, they went to Seattle. They only lost that game by 4 as a 9-point dog. They did lose to the Fever, end up covering that spread. Also lost to the Mercury. So they've been on a 4-game losing streak themselves. But like I said, I don't think the Sparks really want to win. And in the games when they're shorter dog, those are typically the games where they really look bad in. When I looked a little deeper and numbers to kind of put behind that, the Sparks 1-5 straight up and against the number when they're getting 5 points or less as a home dog. And that's as opposed to getting double digits where they're 4-1 against the spread and 3-2 straight up. So they just play a lot better when they're double digit dog. These games that they, you know, are supposed to win or supposed to be competitive in, typically the ones that they don't. This is also one like we talked about last Sunday where if, you know, the Sparks come out super hot, you know, live bet the Dream in the second half because they've been, you know, just a lot better in that spot as well. Sparks typically, you know, either run out of gas or tank the game away, however you want to call it. So, yeah, I do think the Dream can win the game by 2 possessions. You also got, you know, from a head-to-head perspective, you got Jordan Canada returning to LA. I think this is going to be the first time that she's actually had a chance to play against the Sparks since she left the team last season. And yeah, Tina Charles being back, I think is huge. I think the Dream's defense is going to be able to slow the Sparks down a lot. So a Sparks team total under. I couldn't talk anybody off. And this Sparks defense also isn't good. You can see defensively they're 9th rated over the last 5 games. So I do like the Dream here, but I'm not going to play the +4. I'm not going to play the -4 with the spread dropping. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Cup of Joe says, is Atlanta team total over out of line? I don't think so. Let's see. If we go in and look at pace real quick for these two teams, I know Atlanta have been playing pretty fast, and the Sparks are also playing fast, I think. Yeah, Sparks playing at the fastest pace in the WNBA. 100.8 over the last 5 games. The Dream are playing at the second slowest pace, 93.6. Opponent points per game. Sparks are allowing teams to score 87.4 points per game, which is the second most over the last 5 games. Defensively, they are 9th rated as well, which you guys can see in the graphic. And teams are shooting the highest effective field goal percentage against them as well. So the Dream really haven't been able to score the basketball. 11th in effective field goal percentage, 11th at free throw rate. They're just not scoring a lot of points. They're 10th in points per game, 76.8 over the last 5. But when you face a Sparks team that's not really playing a lot of defense, this game tells me that Atlanta Dream team total probably is the better look if I had to play anything right now. So yeah, I'm with you, Cuppa Joe. I will go team total over for the Atlanta Dream. Also, I'm glad you mentioned this, Mitchell. He says the Dream want to make the playoff run. Seriously, they need this win. So I'm glad you mentioned this. I got it pulled up. The Liberty, Sun, Lynx, Aces, Seattle. Those 5 teams have all clinched the playoff spot. The other teams on the outside looking in right now that are probably getting close to clinching are the Phoenix Mercury and the Indiana Fever, both sitting at 16 and 16. That makes 6-7 spots, which means that it's only going to be 1 spot left. You got the Chicago Sky, who can't win a game. They've lost 5 in a row. The Atlanta Dream, right behind them, like literally 1 game behind them in the playoff picture. They have also lost 4 games in a row. So they are still on the outside looking in. But if Chicago loses today, which the spread clearly indicates that they're not going to win that game against the Minnesota Lynx, if they do lose and Atlanta wins, then it's going to come down to the tiebreaker, I think is how it goes. So, yeah, Atlanta really needs this win today. They absolutely do. Dallas is also still in the mix because they're only 2 games behind the Chicago Sky as well, and 1 game behind the Atlanta Dream. So I'm glad you mentioned this, Mitchell. The Dream really do need this win for sure. Sparks can actually make a playoff push for real, though. Nah, they can't. Sparks, I mean, I guess potentially they're not eliminated, so you're right. They're 4 games behind the Chicago Sky, but yeah, I mean, I don't think the Sparks going to win 4 games the rest of the season. I like the Sparks, Santiago says. He is a believer. Okay. Mark says, curious why the line came down from 4 to -2 on Atlanta. I didn't even see that. Justin likes the Dream -3.5. Mark says, never mind. He also likes Tina Charles over at 10.5 rebounds at +105. Wiz says he got in with Atlanta early, -2.5 last night. Charles is in as well. I got her over 15.5. She different Atlanta team since the Olympic break, even though they have lost 3 of their last 4. And yeah, I'm in agreement with this. 3 of their last 4 have been Fever, probably the hottest team in the WNBA outside of the Lynx. Storm, they lost by 4. It's always hard to play in Seattle unless you're the Liberty. And then they lost to the Aces without Tina Charles. So I'm in some agreement with you here, Wiz. I do think that they're the better team between the 2. Keith says, I don't know if Monique Billings guards Asia Wilson. Last time these 2 teams played, they went head to head. Wilson had 28 and 35. Ooh. So Monique Billings has no chance, Keith says. And I think it was LJ who mentioned her in the chat as well. So yeah, some good nuggets there on Asia if you like her to go up over her points prop. BG, I think, is a tad bit too slow. Asia probably going to kill BG from the mid-range and take her away from the paint. I can see Asia having a big game, but I like her rebounds a little bit more. What else? Dream live spot at 1.5 -2.5 if available. Absolutely, T. Mitchell. And we know the Sparks. If they typically cover, it's always in the first half. Real quick, if we pull up those trends in the first half, where the Sparks have been a lot better, especially since the Olympic break. They continue to cover. They are first half 6-1 are the Sparks. 6-1 against the number in the first half are the Sparks. Dream also 4-2-1 in the first in the full game though as well. So yeah, both of these teams played really, really well in the first half. Dream 3-3-1 in the first half, specifically 4-2-1 for the full game. But yeah, Sparks probably the best first half team. They turned into the Washington Mystics almost. Dirty Rig says he thinks Azare Stevens gets 2 threes at plus 150 for a stab. Dropping Dime says Sky currently have the tiebreaker over the Dream. That matchup on the last day of the season is going to be nice. Mark says, I like that live bet angle. Thanks. Yeah, you always can fade the Sparks live, it feels like. So, yeah, those are my thoughts, man. Let's get into a quick recap. Seattle money line. I am going to lock in Seattle money line. I have not played it yet. Haven't sent it out to the members, which is why it's still in red. I haven't played anything, but Dallas team total over 89.5 is also what I like. Asia rebounds makes a lot of sense. And instead of playing Atlanta early, instead of playing Atlanta minus the 4, I'll probably wait and see if I can find a better number. But yeah, Asia Wilson rebounds. I do like the 10.5 and 11.5, but you can get a minus 136 on FanDuel as of just a few moments ago, man. Hopefully, the show was helpful for you guys. If so, do me a favor, hit that like button on your way out. Resources that I use to handicap the games, as always, are here. Definitely check out OddsJam. If you guys are interested in the promo code, it is CBC. It's also linked in the description. Get 20% off your first month. Use that sportsbook screen page to save yourself some time on where you can get the best of the number. And also a big shout out to moneyballer.com. All of the advanced numbers, the betting trends, the angles, the first half spreads, the over on the team totals are all listed over on moneyballer.com. So definitely check them out. You can get 50% off right now using code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's. The link for that is also in the description. Give me the dog. Killersports.com and Cleaning the Glass are also resources that I use to handicap WNBA and some NBA action as well. Yeah, that's the show, man. If you enjoyed it, if it was helpful for you, definitely hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe to the channel, like the show, share your plays as well. We all trying to cash. Link for all my plays is in the description, as it always is. Bet responsibly, and we will catch you guys in the next one, man. Enjoy your Sunday.